It is 7 p.m. on Tuesday, March 19th, 2019, and we are going to open the Committee of Committees meeting. Can you do a roll call, please?
William?
Here.
Jen?
Here.
Jared?
Here.
Dina?
Here.
Jason?
Here.
Rick?
Here.
Brenda?
Here.
I am here, and for purposes of the meeting and people knowing who they are, I'm going to start calling the supervisors in the back. Brett?
Here.
And Kenny?
Here.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the February 19th meeting minutes.
So moved.
I'll second that.
William makes a motion to approve the February 19th, 2019 Committee of Committee meeting minutes. Dina seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-1. Anybody have any questions on the water or fuel reports? If so, I'll bring them up and we can discuss them. Make this a little larger up here. All right, then we'll move on to the clerk.
Are there any questions on the FOIA report? It's the standard, monthly request for audio. That's it for that.
Oh, okay. You got the
Yep,
item.
I do. So I mentioned a few weeks ago that we were eligible to apply for the Ogle County Solid Waste Management Cleanup Day grant, for our electronic recycling event that we co-host with Stillman Valley. So I went ahead and applied for that, and we will receive reimbursement for 50% of our estimated cost for that electronic recycling event in June.
Nice. Thank you.
Did we ever hear anything back from Monroe Center?
I talked to, the clerk from Monroe Center, who did ask me for some more information on it, and she said they would possibly be discussing it at their meeting, which I believe would have been yesterday.
Okay.
So I have not heard from her since then. I did tell them that they're welcome to join us at any point in time, because last year Stillman didn't join in until later on in the process, so I told them, I said, if you guys don't decide to join until later, we'll fit you in then.
Anything further?
Nope, that's all I had.
Brenda?
I have nothing.
Move on to the committees. Community Improvement and Finance.
Why am I always first?
It's alphabetical.
Alphabetical.
On the agenda is the discussion of a draft resolution adopting or amending, as you will, the Village of Davis Junction Technology Resource Use Policy. The staff noticed that was lacking in its being up to date, so to speak. So they updated it, sent it to me for review. I had a couple of suggestions. They made those changes as well. It is in your board packet. Specifically, some of the changes I had requested were that for village employees, the equipment and the accounts that are used for village business, my suggestion was that they are not allowed to use personal accounts to conduct village business, whereas in the past, it said that if you were to use it, the suggested change was that they were to forward a copy of every single transaction to the village account. However, I felt that we have an adequate server, we provide adequate equipment to everybody. There's no reason that they cannot use the village-provided equipment, email accounts, and phone numbers to conduct village business. Whole intent is to ensure that all the communication is documented and stored appropriately per the state law. That way it's all FOIA-able and everything else. That was the employees and supervisors clause. I also encouraged the same language for elected officials. However, the state law negates that entire language. So we just wrote it as that it's strongly encouraged, and that if somebody, elected official, does use a personal account, that they are required to forward all copies to the village account so that it can be stored electronically on our server for the purpose of meeting the state law requirements, and also so that the clerk has the ability to respond to any FOIAs and anything of such. Did I sum that up appropriately?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on that? I don't use a personal account, email account, or phone for the village. I would not encourage anybody else to either, but it is, this village and many others have ran into the problem in the past that, elected officials have used personal email accounts and personal phone numbers to conduct village business. And it ran into problems, and I don't wish our village to be into that same scenario, so I would just highly encourage everyone to use your village email account and phone and everything else, so.
I have a quick question. Example, unfortunately, even though my email and my phone number is posted all over everything for the Meridian Youth registrations and this and that, people just relentlessly message me on Facebook and a private message. And I respond saying, please respond to my email or my phone number, this and that. Does that need to be forwarded to you?
If you are responding via your village phone, I don't think so.
Because it's not a village, it's
Device.
not a village, messenger account, we still need a screenshot of it or a forwarding of it somehow.
I know what you mean.
Okay. That's fine. I'd just basically give them a generic response, and I'd say, please do this, or because of social media policy, I can't respond on your...
To be honest, though, if you get my understanding, I'm not no expert, if you're referring to Facebook,
Yeah,
you get an instant message about, like, youth registration. If you don't respond to it, we're not liable for it.
Yeah,
If you respond through your phone as a text message,
yeah, I'm
texting their number,
responding to them
Okay.
on Messenger and Facebook saying,
okay, then
please
yeah, you would need to,
email or text me,
you'd have to
so,
save that.
okay.
technically, yeah. If you were to just text them back to your phone, I don't believe we would be required to save a copy of the message that was sent to you that you did not engage back with.
Right, problem with that is I don't know their phone number at that point, so, okay.
Yeah, I can go over the state retention record portion of that with you later.
Great.
And to be honest, this is where a Parks Facebook account would not be out of the question, that you could just respond with that account to that person,
Right.
and it's automatically saved.
Yeah, you can log into the village Facebook account and respond that way too.
I just can't understand why they do this.
Because you're the local celebrity.
Well, it takes time for them to track me down on Facebook and do that
It's
when
more
all
effort
my
than-
contact information is right there on the sheet. I don't think we can make it any more clear or easy, short of saying we will not absolutely respond if you find Kenny's Facebook page and ask him a question, so.
If there's no questions, this will most likely appear next week on the agenda for approval, under the, consent agenda. And I believe that's all I have.
All right, move on to ordinance enforcement.
Nothing at this time.
Parks, Public Safety and Health.
That's just a quick update. We had a couple applications for advertising, on the Ball Diamonds. It was quite some time ago when we had the Parks Committee meeting. We had come up with, an idea for allowing companies to sponsor. I know this came to the board, and we have all the guidelines on what we have to do to have them approved. If there's any tobacco or alcohol, there's certain times that it can and cannot be, displayed. If there's youth events or anything like that, they need to come down, and so forth. But we had father and son just submitted, a banner design, the request for advertising, and then also Edward Jones in Stillman Valley just submitted one also. I think Sandy might have the pictures.
I do not, the policy for that was passed in 2016, so it's already, we already have the guidelines for it, and there's an advertising fee of $750 that the village would take in.
So I don't know if, we need to actually have those approved under board discussion for the design or what they want to do there.
if there's no objections to them, I will stick them under Jen for next week for approval. The applications do have to be approved. I'm not sure that the design has to, but the application itself.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever get back to the one on those
Yeah, and she,
changes that needed?
yeah, she resent it today, yeah.
Yeah, you just send me what you want, and then next week I'll put them under you separately for approvals.
Okay.
You guys won't have seen them.
Okay. Also, hopefully, we're weeks behind. Trying possibly Thursday to finally get some high school games going out here. It's gonna be by the skin of our teeth. Weather-wise, we're still pushing a lot of frost out of the ground, and I wanted to say, obviously, I know, most of you probably saw or heard the deal on the news about the National Softball Association World Series coming to Rockford and Davis Junction and Beloit. I wasn't purposely keeping everybody in the dark in it. I just am lacking a lot of facts, so I didn't really want to bring it to your attention until I had a little more information about what was actually going to happen come July. A lot of it's going to be dependent upon how many teams enroll at what age levels. They're expecting a huge turnout, obviously. So I'm hoping that the week of July they do this, so we have this place just completely hopping. But right now there's a lot of unanswered questions I won't know until we get closer to it, so that's why I didn't really bring it up, because I didn't really have any answers for you on it.
Do they have set dates for that?
Yes. It was, I'd have to look at my calendar. July or June 17th.
I heard him say July, but I just
I think it's July 17th through like the 27th, if I'm not mistaken, right around there.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Our Easter egg hunt is Saturday, April 13th, registration at 10:30, the hunt's gonna be at 11. I have booked, Jim Kohler for our DJ, and I talked to Holcomb Bank today, and they will be serving our refreshments for the community. And that's all I have.
Okay. Utilities? I'm sorry, streets and ditches? Keep trying to skip you, Jason. You have 5 meetings left.
I have nothing tonight.
For the public that doesn't know, he'll be leaving us in 6 more meetings.
5 more.
5 that he'll be here, 6 total meetings. Utilities.
I'm referring to Brett.
Come on.
Because Brett's who put it all on
It
his
does.
wall.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get this started. So as you can see, we've got some projects, between water and wastewater. Majority of these, well, I shouldn't say the majority are wastewater, but it's kind of a mix. So if we want to just start with the first one, I'm assuming, all right. So the first one is, the harvester level transmitter. This is, the big blue tank at the wastewater plant. It basically level transmitter. It's actually a radar system from what we've learned. At the very top of the steps there you can kind of see there's a little, it's kind of hard to see from here, but anyway, what it does is it basically senses the level of the material that's inside, it relays it back to the SCADA system. That has not been functioning in a long, long time. We were looking at other ones. The current one is, I believe, a Siemens. I don't even know if Siemens is still in business. I'm not sure.
Siemens got out of the wastewater business
Yes,
right after our
a
plant.
while back. The problem, so what we did is we actually found a replacement for this. This is not a typical level transducer. This is a radar system, they call it. I don't know much about them, but we actually found a replacement for this, and that's the quote that you have in your packet there, 3525. So, like I said, I'm just bringing these up, and then we'll see them again next week, unless there's any discussion this week, but it's just so we know what is in the harvester.
So what brand is this one?
This actually, as far as I know, this is actually a Siemens brand.
Oh.
So, and it's a direct replacement for what's up there. Replacing the whole system and going with something completely different, we were learning was very, very costly. So, we were gonna try this route. So, I don't know if, any questions? Otherwise, we'll move on? No? Okay. That was easy. All right, basically the same thing. The digesters are the 2 tanks directly north of the harvester. basically, this is the same thing. We have been having issues, with the level transmitters in both of those. Same thing. We basically, this is kind of going with a different style, as you can see here from the McGilver quote. This is for both of them, and it's installing the transmitters. We have some controls that won't be needed.
Is that for both, or is that
That-
price times two?
No, that is for both. No.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't get the current, yeah, that came today. The total for both would be $3,744.50.
Say it one more time.
$3,744.50.
Thank you.
That's a quote, I just, got that either yesterday afternoon or this morning, I can't remember, it's been a long day.
We did get one that's properly listed.
Yes.
this week.
And that shows, transmitter in one and digester 1 and 2, so that would be to do the entire project. So, anyway, any questions on that? All right, so, the lift station. Is everybody familiar with the Pacific Avenue lift station? When I say that?
The location.
Yeah, that's the lift station that basically pumps the original side of town, and then that goes up it goes up Junction Road, dumps into a gravity at Sandvix? Is that the name of the farmhouse there between Harvest Glen? There's a structure just south of there, basically, is where this dumps in, and then it turns into gravity and then flows down.
That picks up Prairie Moon too.
It does pick up a very small section, yes. But anyway, so what is going on there is, there is we'll call it a dialer. It's what calls us out, when the lift station is having issues, whether it be the pumps failed, high level, low level, whatever. That runs on, I believe it is 3G. At the end of this year, that will no longer, 3G will not exist anymore. We have to upgrade. It is not an option.
We had John install those back in
Yes, they've been around for a while.
2008,
Yes.
2010, something like that.
So basically, what we're looking at doing is basically putting a new dialer in. Dialers aren't too expensive. We want to install a light on top of it, just in case there's issues and something doesn't happen, you can drive by and you literally see the little red light on. I believe the old Ogle Crossing one used to have a light on it. I'm not sure, but,
It did.
yes. And, oh, that's right, the electric bill.
The electricity running too.
And then while we're there, Jason Vose and I were just discussing it, we'd like to actually just go ahead and put a high-level float system in there, so if something doesn't happen, that high level will also kick in and call us. Basically, it's just a backup, because that lift station is not
Are
something.
those the box tellers on the Verizon bill?
They could very well could be there. You get paid by call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Is there a reason why we just can't update the box teller to 4G or 5G?
This is updating to the current. Basically, we're trying to take the cheaper route here, because we may do a major upgrade, so instead of going, we could go a lot more, sophisticated than this, but we're just doing a basic dialer on it and keeping it simple.
Right.
Because that, as Rick said, that lift station is old, and we're talking about in the next year or so doing a bigger upgrade.
Yeah, 'cause the
That's the
dialers,
first lift station.
Yes.
the dialers call out like 50 cents a month or something, if
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and like I said, right now, it's just gonna be a real simple setup, because it's less things to go wrong. So, and then, like I said, high float, or the high-level float system, it's just a backup, so.
The dialer's not, the float system is gonna be the majority of that cost.
Yes, and this is having them come out and do this, because, when you look back in there, it's kinda confusing. They refer to it as the crystal ball. We don't know what's going on. It's way above our pay grade. So this is actually McGilvra, this is what they do. They come down, they remove that, they install the dialer, they install the float, they calibrate everything, they do everything that needs to be done. It's a one-stop shop. And this, actually, when I talked with Jason Vose about this, I said, hey, find somebody that you trust and you have worked with, and that's why you've seen several quotes from McGilvra. He's a big fan, and he likes their work. So, you can't just go down the street and find somebody to do this for a living, Anyway, that's that. There's any questions? None? No? Okay. All right, what do we got next? Okay, the check valves, at the wastewater plant. Let's see. So these are the check valves, part of the system for the influent pumps, where the raw comes into the plant. This is the first stage. This is where it hits the plant. These check valves are original. We have a problem with them seating. So The original plan, before me here, doing what I'm doing, was to buy all new check valves and replace, there's 4 of them, and replace the check valves. So Brent Weaver and I were down there a week or 2 ago. We took one of the check valves apart. And the check valves run about $2,000 a piece. So what we thought about doing, we actually just got the kit in today, is that's one of the new ones right there. We have 1. We need to buy 3 more if we're going to replace check valves. What we'd like to try to do is, they make a rebuild kit, basically, for the existing, that's meant for the check valves that are in there. It's from the same company. And it basically is going to replace the parts that right now are wearing that we have issues with. Those are $544 a piece instead of $2,000. We're going to try one. It just came in today. We bought one. We're going to try this kit and see if it takes care of our problems. We know it will, but it's just, we want to make sure that we're not doing this again in another 2 years.
Are you gonna
So-
replace one and then rebuild the one that's out and then replace one?
No, we can rebuild them in place.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do this in place. We're gonna try this kit out, we're gonna make sure it can do, if we have what we need, it's gonna do what, they claim it's gonna be just fine, the check valve will be like brand new again. So,
Just out of curiosity, is there another isolation valve anywhere, or is that the only isolation valve?
each one has its own.
Yeah, but what about on the other side?
No,
Okay.
no. The water, that, you got the pump, so you can't do
This is
anything.
what prevents it from coming back.
Yeah, you've got the pump on the
Disassemble
other
it in
one, so
place.
we take that out of service, we take that pump out of
Okay.
service, we tag it, lock it out, and then we work on that one.
All right, I just wanna make sure you're not gonna deal with.
No,
Once
because you're not
take the
gonna
ba-
find me down
Once you
there
take
with.
the backflow out, you have backflow.
Yeah, no, we've already had it apart, it's good.
That's why I asked if there was an isolation on the other side of it.
Yeah, no, that is the pump on the other side, so as long as it's locked out, we have no issues.
What do you mean when you say before it does seating? What do you mean?
Where the check valve inside seats against the
Oh,
faceplate, seats, I'm sorry, seats, yes. But, like I said, that we're gonna try this rebuild kit and see if we like it, because we're having, just keep it kinda short and simple, we don't know how well these check valves, as they built this, okay, they built it in pieces up to the check valve, okay? So the tolerances and trying to remove one of these check valves, is not gonna be easy. And we don't know if we can actually do it or not. So that's why we're gonna attempt the rebuild. Because if we have to loosen bolts and relieve pressure on the piping, we can't do that because we can't stop flow to the plant. The only way to do that is to attempt to bypass. And we don't even want to get into that mess if we don't have to, so.
As long as,
I will keep you updated.
as long as your valve and check valve face is not pitted, you'll be all right.
Well, yeah, right. And part of the rebuild kit is actually a new disc. So we're gonna hope that this works. I'll keep you updated on that. So that is the check valves. What was next? Okay. So, the fluoride and chlorine, at the water plant. So everybody is familiar about the fluoride and the chlorine injection in the water? Okay. So this has been, I guess, discussed for years. We're actually wanting to pull the trigger on it now. We want to do an upgrade. So what we have now, if you can bring up the pictures, we'll start with the fluoride room, please. So this is how we operate now. We operate out of, what they refer to these as carboys. So you put a carboy on the scale, has a pump, has a quill, inject into the line. What we're wanting to do is upgrade. We want to go to a bulk system. There's no more carboys, there's no nothing. The supplier Hawkins comes out, they come in, they install a day tank and a storage tank and a day tank, scale, different pump, because we have to replace the pump anyway. And basically it takes all those carboys, takes all of that out of the equation. They stop when they need to, they fill up the big tank, we transfer from the big tank to the day tank that's on the scale, and there is no more of that. There's no more dumping one carboy into another when you got 10 gallons, 20 gallons left. It's an easier thing. It's simple. And like I said, it's a safety thing because you don't have that stuff splashing around. Another thing is you try to seal the room up. The reason I took a picture of that window, the first picture, is that is actually not dirty, that is etched. So you try the best to seal the room up to keep any of the gases out, but unfortunately, when you're taking caps off, you're switching carboys, you're dumping from one to another with your face shield, your gloves, and all this stuff on, you're still opening that up. So we're trying to take all that out of the equation, because everything else is a sealed system
Is that
when they come in.
one, or is that the treatment plant?
That's the water plant.
Is this what we were looking at, Jamie proposed going to the chlorine system?
We're gonna get to that.
That's
Gate.
not.
Because just
Come
the
in.
history, we used to be on chlorine gas,
Yeah.
we went to chlorine liquid, and we'll see.
Vice versa.
We'll see what,
You now have gas, you
we have
had
gas
bleach
now?
before. Yes.
Okay.
Which we're gonna try to switch back, but we'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, that's part of the upgrade that we're looking to do for fluoride. Like I said, we're kinda, it's better, like I said, it's less hands-on, there's less chances of accidents, it's just all around safer, so. Hydrofluoric acid. Yeah, it's just, like I said, you're literally transferring these carboys, because the pump, it doesn't pull every little bit out, and we don't waste it, so you transfer it over in a funnel, and it's, that's just what we do. So, any questions on the fluoride room?
that's the price.
Yes, fluoride, had its own, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong, yes. Yes, that's to do fluoride, $4,251.
That's not what,
That's not what that says.
oh, there it is.
There's $4,251.
Yeah.
Yes. And then Hawkins, if anybody's curious, Hawkins is who we buy our product through anyway. We were, a few years back, we were Viking Chemical, and then we got away from them and went to Hawkins. Great people, great service. Okay, we're good with that, then we'll move on to the chlorine room, which is what you're looking at right there, is basically our storage for our tanks. So,
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So there were two quotes there. One is for fluoride and the other is for sodium hypochlorite.
that's what we're talking about, the chlorine.
Okay, that's what you're getting to.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, correct. All right, so right now we are gas. I've been told that we were hypo in the beginning, which we can refer to that as bleach if we want, and then we switched off and went to gas. I was told because it was cheaper. I'm not sure. This is
That's what the
long before
reason-
I was here.
That's what the reasoning was.
Okay, well, that is true. Chlorine is cheaper. But chlorine, if anybody has ever messed with chlorine, is not a fun or safe thing to mess with. I'm sure William can speak towards that. So what we are wanting, this is coming from Jason Vose, myself. We are actually, we would like to go back to hypo. I've been told by Matt Hansen that we will have to get permitted again for it. I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that. So some of the big reason is safety. You're not dealing with gas. You're not changing regulators. You're not swapping tanks. No matter what you do, you always get a little, whenever you're switching out to a new tank or whatever, you always get a little puff because there's always some held in the vac. What you see attached to the tank there is a vacuum regulator. There's always a small amount. I mean, it doesn't come out like gas, but you always get a whiff of chlorine. By getting away from chlorine, you actually take a lot of those components out of the equation too. You get rid of the vacuum regulators. That little tiny thing hanging up on the wall to the left there is a rotometer. That's gone. The booster pump on the ground is gone. The injector is gone. All you have is, and they come in, they set up the bleach, they set up the tanks, same as the fluoride. This is all done by Hawkins. You have that. You have an injection point, and you have a scale, which we already have there. We have two of them. We actually eliminate one scale as well. And you have a meter. That's it. All that other stuff is gone. That little blue cylinder laying on the floor there to the left of the tanks, that is basically a booster pump. We replace that about once a year. I believe Brenda and I were talking about it. Weaver can pull those numbers tomorrow out of his computer. Those are a couple $100 at a pop each time. So, but like I said, the biggest thing is safety. You're going from a gas to a liquid.
If that was to vent, chlorine's gonna seek out low spots.
Yes.
So as it leaves the wastewater plant, it's gonna travel down.
Yes, yes. Now, I will tell you that some rough numbers, that the bleach is a little more expensive. Right now, and these are all estimates simply because, it always changes, you know, I mean, we don't run the plant,
Yeah.
you're always putting different amount of water up. As of right now, from the last couple years, the average is you can go pounds to gallons, 1-to-1. There's gonna be about a $700 to $1,000 difference in a year going to, and like I said, that's gonna fluctuate. I can't tell you that it's $1,000 every year, but right now, from an average, what Jason Vose pulled from our previous bench sheets, we used about 450 pounds / 450 gallons, if you wanna call it that. So it would be about a $700 difference. I'm gonna round up and say $1,000 more. But, like I said, we need to rebuild that rotometer. We need to, for example, the scales, we need to check and replace the scales. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in that room. So we're wanting to get rid of some of that cost that, you know, we deal with every year. And the biggest thing is make it safe. So, anyway, that's what that is.
Just a question, only
Yes.
because I don't know. So the liquid is far safer than the gas?
Yes, because there is no break, you know, there's no gas leak. If something were to happen, if a tank tips over as we're switching, it falls off the scale and you bust the top of the tank off or whatever, you take all of that out of the equation. There's no gas.
The gas will displace the oxygen, suffocate you, and
Yes.
consequences.
You know, we don't do tanks without two people. There's always two people. The door, literally, I'm standing in the doorway. The door's like 4 feet away from the tanks. Door's propped open, two people, one person standing at the entrance, the other person doing the work. You know, we don't take any chances up there.
Fans all work?
Pardon?
Fans work?
Oh, yeah, yep. We don't take any chances, but like I said, it's,
It should be, is it just to the left of that doorway, there's a giant fan in the wall?
to the right.
Just to the right?
Yep.
Okay.
Are those the,
Or no, you're exhausted,
Yeah.
you're pulling from the left, discharging on the right. Yes.
the scales that you speak of, are those gray mats underneath the?
Those are-
Look
yep.
like underneath the tank
Yep.
that look like
Yep.
mats, but,
Yeah,
okay.
those are scales. And like I said, so you get rid of one of them because we only need one scale for the tank to sit on, and that's another thing. Hawkins shows up, fills it up, drives away, we're done.
Our employees no longer touch the product,
We don't touch anything.
whereas currently we are.
Oh, absolutely. We change carboys in the fluoride room, we change tanks. Actually, I'm gonna be doing one here probably this week.
Any reason we know the village in the past went to this system, other than the money savings? 'Cause
It was the monetary savings and the recommendation of our wastewater operator.
Do you have that? That one is,
That's the one up here.
5,000?
That's the
yes, that's the
52.
one that's
6,000.
basically $6,000. Now,
One.
the only downside that I just learned this last week, talking with Matt. Now, Matt told me if we do have to get permitted again it's a one-time thing. If we don't still have a permit currently on file for hypo/bleach, we will need to go through that process again. He shot me a high number. He said 3,000. He said, but that should be way high. He said it should come in much less than that, but he goes, just ballparking it. He said, I'm gonna tell you that to cover. But he believes it's gonna be much less than that. But it's a one-time fee. So,
Obviously, this isn't a changeover that's gonna be cost-effective, right? I mean, this isn't being done to save money, this is for safety of employees.
it's, I don't wanna say it's not gonna save money. It just depends. If we lose a booster pump, there's a couple $100. You know, we need to rebuild the injector. From talking to Jason Vose, the reason things are so expensive with gas is because the manufacturers, the people selling this and that, they have such a markup on things to cover because of the insurance that they have to carry when it comes to this. So everything with gas is expensive. I'm not saying bleach is cheap, but because like I said, we will spend more on bleach.
What is the price difference in that?
On,
I think you tried to explain it, but.
yeah, right now, from what he's got figured, he's got, for hypo, for bleach, about, for the 450 gallons that I was referring to earlier, if we were to use that, he's got $2.29 a gallon, and then he had, for the gas, 70, if you round up, basically 73 cents.
How
I'll show you this as well, William, the email that I have.
long would you say it takes the two like, two people changing one of those things, those tanks? How long?
It doesn't take very long. You know, we kind of have a process, you know, so we're double checking everything. It takes, I would say, because we obviously don't move quick doing it, I would say 15 minutes. It's not time consuming or anything. It's just, you know, you're always double checking yourself. You're always making sure, you know, the lead washer's in. You're always, you know, you just.
And how often per week?
You don't change them per week. It'll be, it depends on how much the plant runs. It could be 2 or 3 months.
Well, that's my question, is the physical
often.
chlorine gonna be used faster than the gas? Or not, is it gonna be?
No, we will probably go through more bleach. One of the reasons, we'll probably go through more of that. It's not like we're putting more in and add, you know what I mean? It's
Right,
just,
it just uses
it's
more
different
of it.
properties. It's different. You
Correct,
got
I
a liquid
understand
versus a gas. So I'm guessing, I've never been around bleach. This is all based off, you know, things I've learned, but you will probably use a little more bleach, is what I'm gathering.
So the changeover is gonna be an annual increase over what we currently do.
Yes.
Overall.
Overall, yes. Yes. Like I said, the
But we're
chlorine
talking-
side of things, you're not getting away. You know, it's not, we're not gonna save crazy money by doing it. You're just eliminating equipment that can go wrong,
And the safety,
that can go bad, and you're basically,
insurance safety.
it's a huge, huge step in safety. Huge. I mean, it's hard to explain.
But the increase in the material we're gonna use is a substantiated and a viable exchange for the increase in safety of our employees. That's what we're getting at.
That's, yeah, I mean, yes. And like I said, it's hard to get exact numbers. That's why he kind of did an average here, come up with 450 gallons / pounds. And that's where I'm coming up with the, for example, for the gas, he had $328. For the hypo, the bleach, $1,031. I'm rounding up to $1,000 a year.
Each time?
No, that's for a year.
Oh,
$1,000 a year.
okay.
He averaged this out for a year.
You can negate some of that cost by the time you figure in the price of a couple of those pumps, the booster pumps.
The boosters,
And then what-
that rotometer hooked to the wall up there, the injector, for example.
But you said that the pumps go bad, a couple of them a year, and then the labor to put them in.
On an average, we change a booster pump, it seems like, well, at least since I've been here, it almost seems like once a year. And I don't know why, but,
So
It
you
just
take-
seems to
take
be-
away a fifth of that cost,
yeah.
a third of that
Yeah,
cost.
I'd imagine.
So, and like I said, I'm not sitting here telling you we're gonna save money, this is gonna be a huge cost saving. That's not where I'm going with this.
That adds up too.
So, I'm saying eliminate equipment that goes wrong, goes bad, and a huge, huge step in safety.
You're the mic.
Okay, go ahead. I mean,
Is our insurance, does our insurance know about the two systems and the danger? Will we save anything on insurance by switching over also?
I know
You know, if you have them come out and assess it?
every couple years, they come out to assess all our buildings and everything, outside and inside.
So we could make a point of asking them to come out, maybe getting a savings on it, on the
We could ask
insurance
them,
if we
yeah.
go to a safer system.
We can ask.
Can't hurt.
Yeah.
Never know until you ask.
And like I said, I don't, oh, sorry, Linda. I don't, you know, we're very careful when we change cylinders, so I don't, you know, I'm not saying we're gonna have I'm not saying anything's ever gonna happen. I'm just saying, 'cause we do things by the book up there. I'm very, very strict when it comes to that. But, you know. That's about it for the chlorine, unless there's any questions.
Are we gonna, you gonna wanna present that next week? You're gonna wait for Will Hoffman and the decision on whether we gotta apply for permitting?
I can talk to Matt actually this week. I can give him a call tomorrow and see if he found anything out. It sounds like we're going to have to. He's fairly confident we're gonna have to, so we will have to spend a little bit, but unfortunately, that
You
is
have all
the
that-
downside to switching and then switching back.
Have all that accounted in the budget?
Yes, this is all in this year's budget. I forgot to mention that, sorry. Maybe one of the big
Start
important
with
things.
that next month.
Yeah, look at me. I don't need you guys to get out your checkbooks.
Lead with that.
No, this is all stuff that I have in this year's budget that we're trying to These are projects that we're trying to get taken care of.
And can it be installed and paid for before we roll into the next fiscal budget?
That's a good possibility. Yes, a lot of this hopefully can be done, yes. So, any questions? All right, and we will move on to, all right, so,
Spectrophotometer.
spectrophotometer
Thank you.
and the colorimeter. Okay, see, these are pieces of equipment that we use at, for example, what you're seeing there is the DR30, we'll just call it the DR3900 if everybody's good with that. That is, basically, we have the old version of that sits out at the wastewater plant. These are pieces of equipment, that we use to do our lab work. George uses the older version that we have out at wastewater, uses it basically every day. What we're looking at doing is taking that unit that's out there, because that is capable of doing some of the stuff we do at the water plant. And we refer to that as basically a benchtop or desktop unit. We want to take that unit from the wastewater plant, put it at the water plant. We do not have a benchtop. We use a portable up there. Take the old one, put it at water, purchase the new DR3900, that would go to wastewater because it gets literally used on a daily basis and it has a lot more stuff that George would use at wastewater. And then if you look at the next one, it's the colorimeter, the DR900. So we basically have the old version of that, I believe it's the 870. That is what we use at the water plant for doing our chlorine, our iron, our fluoride. It's a handheld. We use that to go out and do our distribution, out in the field. We're looking at upgrading that. That is the same unit that has been here since I've been here. So we're looking at purchasing, because we have to have a handheld to go out and do distribution. When we come here to Village Hall, or we go, to the hydrant down by Ogle Crossing when we're out there. So we have to have a handheld to do that. So we're looking at purchasing a DR900, which is basically the newest version of it, and then possibly trying to send in the 870 to see if it can be refurbed as a backup unit if we were to need it. So that's what you see there. We're buying one for wastewater, moving that one to water, and then purchasing a handheld for the water plant, strictly the water plant for distribution and out in the field work. So,
Are our current ones functioning just fine, or are they just reaching the end of life expectancy?
well, we don't have a benchtop at the water plant.
Okay.
So that's why we would purchase the 3900, the big unit, is to take the one from wastewater to the water plant and make it a permanent. The other one, like I said, it is at least 6 years old. I can't tell you how many times it's probably been dropped. Like I said, it is the old, I don't even know if they can refurb that because it might be too old. I don't know.
If it's the same one we had, I'll have to look at it and see if it's the same one when I got here.
Yeah, like I said, I just know that is the same one that's been used for 6 years now. So, yeah, it's basically upgrading to something that's probably, like I said, a little more accurate, it's new, it's the current technology.
Well, for the layperson who I am, what is that thing, and what are you measuring?
That's how we test the amount of chlorine in the system, fluoride in the system, iron in the system.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's still gonna rely, you gotta wait from the vials, right? The sample vials?
AccuVax,
Yeah.
we still have some, but yes, we have started to shift away from that due to cost because
Right.
AccuVax are ridiculously expensive. So we have started, like chlorine, for example, we use DPD pillows. We have gone to just a standard reagent with a pipette for doing fluoride. Yeah, we keep AccuVax on hand in case we need them, but we don't use them regularly. Strictly because of price. They are expensive.
They are expensive.
And we've found more cost-effective ways to doing it.
And if we have one that's not calibrated or working properly,
Well, we
put too much chlorine?
No, it's not a matter of calibrate. We can go through and we can do I'm drawing a blank here. I'll think of it, but I'm drawing a blank here. It's just, like I said, I don't know how long we want to go with old technology, and we don't have a backup. That's the main thing is, like I said, we don't have a backup for this, and if this goes down, I can't come out in the field, take a sample to do free chlorine, and run it back to the lab. You have less than a minute to run that sample for it to be accurate.
What would happen to us if we didn't have one or we couldn't run those tests?
I don't know why we wouldn't have one.
What if it broke? You said.
We don't have a backup.
I understand that, so if the one we do have broke and it wouldn't work, what would happen? I mean, is it against EPA regulations or?
I'd have to have Jason Bose answer that, and he's at a conference down in Springfield. So that's kind of what we're trying to avoid, is something bad happening, because we do have one that works. It's been working for 6 years, you know, and when we do test, so there are certain things that we test for, like fluoride, for example. Once a month, we send fluoride to, was it PDC, I believe, Brenda?
Yeah.
We send fluoride to PDC, and they test the fluoride as well. And so our numbers and their numbers are like almost exactly the same. So it's not a matter of it's not being accurate. It's, like I said, it's old technology. We don't have a backup. Do we want to purchase a new one, send this in, see if it can be, if it needs to be gone through? So we do have a backup.
How often do you test?
Distribution, we test 5 days a week. When we run the plant, we do the rest of the testing for chlorine, fluoride, iron.
5 days a week, you do portable testing?
Yes,
Feels like every day.
yes. That gets used, like I said, all the time. So. I'm not trying to push something we don't need. I'm just telling you, we don't have a backup, and, you know,
I trust your judgment.
That's where we've lived for a long time, so yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so. Just something we may want to look at doing. Like I said, once again, this is all money that I've planned it out, so, if we're gonna do it, this would probably be a good time to do it. So, and actually, these prices, we believe we found them from USA Blue Book, cheap. So, I think we can get the 900, it's like $100, $200 cheaper, and the 3,900 was $300 or $400 cheaper. So,
Even better.
Yeah, buddy.
So will that be ready for next week as well?
yes, I can get those dollar amounts. Yep.
I was trying to see how old that 870 actually is, but not coming.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure, I don't know, but, anyway, that's, I think that's it, for me anyway.
You sure? You sure you're happy?
Yeah, I mean, we can get started on the water tower if you want, but
I know, we got a lot
I don't know how much time everybody's got,
Okay.
so we'll save that for another day.
There'll be more.
He's saving that nugget for later.
Yes, and we have a reason for
Anything
it.
further, Dina?
We're not trying to hide it.
I think that's where we're done.
All right. So under unfinished business, we don't have anything new on the Rolling Meadows water. Anything new on mosquito spraying since we're getting close to that season?
You and William, that was the last I left that.
Okay.
The intergovernmental agreement?
It is covered underneath that. It's a discussion that needs to be had with the other parties at this point to find out if they're interested.
Oh, that's on me.
I emailed it to you and Rick,
Check your spam folder.
about 3 months ago.
We're on it.
I think it's called headline, it says mosquitoes.
Wasn't aware I was doing the park.
Nah,
I'll look it up.
I'll talk to Becky.
That's why it was sent to you too.
Oh, got it.
Sidewalks?
There is not an update. Hopefully, we are almost done with budgets, and then I will be able to corner free for discussion on sidewalk policy. Now
Speaking
that-
of sidewalks,
Yeah.
during my extensive rehab, I was walking through Ogle Crossings. And, some of the new construction and the sidewalks that are put in are already broken and falling apart.
Are they
They're not even a
heaving?
year old, I don't think.
They just cracked or are they heaving?
Cracked, and it looks like the concrete mix that was used is not of a good quality, and it's pitting. All the stuff on Northwestern towards the end. So
Towards which end?
the part where they're building,
Oh.
the end of it.
New area.
So I think it's the 1040 block.
Yeah, I think it starts at 1,039.
Specifically 1047, I think.
Yeah, I'll look at what our agreement covers.
Yeah, because I don't wanna take possession of that sidewalk, because it is not up to our standard.
Alright, I'll look and see what our agreement
I'll
covers.
walk through there
Yeah,
tomorrow.
see if the
Yeah,
report
it's-
covers it.
Between,
Well,
the block between Illinois and
Autumn Wolf.
Autumn Wolf.
Yep, I know exactly where we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Public?
Oh, he needs a microphone again, sorry.
Oh, it's Mike. We have 3 portables.
The third,
Oh, the old one?
oh,
Means you have to sing when you're talking.
Yes.
thank you for doing the mic dance.
Okay.
You won the talent contest.
My only question is, do you have an inventory list of all your equipment and when it was purchased? The value, the residual value? And most electronic equipment only lasts for 5 years, and you probably should, plan on replacing most electronic equipment within 5 years. Not that it'll break or whatever, but, sometime after that probably. I just didn't know if you kept how do you
There
know
is.
how old your equipment is?
Brent, this computer maintenance software program, I don't know if
That's-
every single piece
that-
of equipment is in it, but
Yeah.
we do have,
You don't necessarily need every single equipment, but a piece of equipment, but you probably should have equipment over a certain value in there.
Yes,
Agreed.
I don't think that his would cover that, and, recently we did come upon an issue where we needed to locate how old that trailer was, and we really struggled in locating its year.
I would think that his software or program would be able to allow us to input equipment into it, even if he is not doing physical annual maintenance on it.
Kenny's recently looked into that program, I believe, or were you looking at a replacement for that program?
We currently looked for replacement. Unfortunately, Brent's computer is sold. I think it's still running Windows 95, on it. It's, and it has a CRT monitor probably, but,
That's the same guy that has a Casio phone.
yeah, unfortunately, the software update, everything's going cloud-based, instead of actually purchasing software. And it's a monthly subscription fee for the same software he's using, and it seems to be completely ridiculously expensive. So I've talked with Verizon as a fleet maintenance, software. We did an online demo to look at it where you can actually, they have kind of something that would plug in your OBD2 diagnostic port on the vehicles, and it would keep track of mileage. It can do maintenance reminders. It can do this and that, but again, it's a recurring fee per month per vehicle on it. We're just trying to find something that's cost effective where we're not shelling out $1,000 a month for software
Look
and
up
stuff like that.
CMMS. It's a computerized maintenance management system, so CMMS software.
But on the side note also, Chris, we, at least for me, and I know we have some records, like we have, at least for our equipment, not necessarily electronics, I have a replacement schedule done, which sooner or later I'm gonna get to the board for their board packet, where it's showing what year we bought the equipment, what the actual purchase price was, when we're planning on replacing it, and an estimated residual value on them. As for electronics, I don't really think we have
I
anything
don't
like
think we
that.
have
but-
a set list just for electronics. We can kind of piecemeal and
I
hunt
would
it
think that
down.
each area would have their own, separate, records for it, whether it be, water treatment plant
At
or,
this point, no.
all right,
No.
all right.
We're getting better about, once we find it,
It might be
making note
easier
of
when you go
it.
to replace, when you
Yeah.
go to replace stuff, then hey, something's
Yeah.
10 years old, it's probably time to get rid of it,
Yeah.
or looking to upgrade it, or however you wanna say it, that's all.
Linda?
Oh, jeez.
That one's red. Oh, new batteries?
Thank you.
Approval has been given for the employee picnic at my house. The date will be June 28th.
Excellent. Anything further from public?
I have a question, and I don't know if I should do it as a board member or as a public. It's just a question. I've had it,
Ask away.
well, I've had it brought to me, and I have a concern too. I'm just wondering, now that the signs and banners are going up, do we have a policy on size and how big they can be, or how many can be put in a specific spot?
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've had a relative from out of town make comments.
Are you talking temporary signs?
Yes, like,
Permanent
well, just
signs,
like,
or park
well,
advertising?
I know we have
Political
our,
speech.
but the political signs.
You can't limit it.
You can regulate them, they have to be very broadly regulated, and I'm not sure that we have any, I will have to take
I guess
a
I'm
look.
just asking prior to, now that it's starting, and,
Yeah.
you know,
Feel lucky it's taken this long.
but that's why I'm like, you know
It's
what,
usually
I'm
late
like,
February.
If there is a regulation, it will be a muni code, and I would
Okay.
have to look it up there. I do know we had this discussion, you cannot strictly regulate them, so
Well,
I
I
can't
know, but I'm
remember
just,
if we.
you know-
Ansog Link has a pretty good, synopsis of it, if you look
Yeah.
up on their website and their
Okay.
bulletin, what is it called?
Yeah, but we have to have adopted a certain portion of it to be,
And we did not.
I don't,
enforced,
that's what
you
I
mean?
couldn't remember, is if
We
we
did
did or
not.
did not. So we may not have any regulation against political signs,
Okay.
regardless of size.
The issue is because you, like you said, you can't regulate just that, because it's discrimination.
well, I know,
And
but I
if you
just,
allow other people of other groups to do it, you have to allow.
I know, and I just know that people have, like, driven through here during election time, and they're like, how many signs do you allow people to put up and what, you know?
There's a temporary
what-
sign on political speech, I don't think you can limit it.
Oh, I know, but I just,
No, you can limit size, scope, location, and that's where I actually think we do have some restrictions. There's some restrictions about locations being in public right-of-ways versus private property, those types.
well, I know, like, if you drive down, like, 72 going through, you know, the main drag of Davis Junction, and it's like,
Yeah, I'd have to look. If we did, it will be on muni code.
okay.
I asked a few years ago because I had a problem with this person in my yard, and the board had told me there wasn't any restrictions.
Yeah.
But that was several years ago that I had asked.
'Cause I
But they
I
can't-
believe what we found, like I said, I really believe it
Right.
was being political speech and temporary signage, that there was no,
That was the reason I was given, because it was a political sign.
Yeah, but they
You
can't put it in
couldn't-
Yeah,
your
but- yeah, don't they
property.
have to
they
have
can't put it in your
permission?
property without your.
You can't put it in your property without your permission, but,
Not even the right of way either.
right, but, yeah, because we have to maintain the right-of-ways.
Right.
But I was told that, size and the number wasn't couldn't be regulated.
You can't regulate the number.
Yeah.
I believe, I'm not quite sure, I'd have to double check it, but I do believe that some municipalities have taken to, size restrictions, but it's also in line with their regular sign size restrictions, but I'm not sure that we have adopted those policies.
Luckily, it's only a temporary thing every couple of years. Anything further from the committee members? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Jared makes a motion to adjourn, Jen seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:57.